Ever since the release of Black Adam, there has only been one discussion on online forums, and it's pertaining to the Rotten Tomatoes reviews that the film got a 50% rating from critics. Just to put it into context, Thor Love and Thunder was at 64%, making people believe that all the promises that Rock had about making the movie for the fans and the tide shifting for the DCEU was all talk and no show. Irrespective, you know this channel and most of us agree that we tend to avoid reviews from various publication houses because it in hindsight seems to be motivated to either take down a film or comes from a place where it renders superhero movies to be the antithesis of cinema. I went in with a clean slate and realized that neither was the film as much of a train wreck as critics described it to be, neither was it as inflated and mesmerizing as fans talked about. Black Adam focuses on the character of Teth Adam, who gains his powers as a slave in Kandak. For reasons only to be explored while watching the movie, Black Adam is called upon after several years to notice that his land is unrecognizable, and still his people are under tyrannical rule, only this time by international mercenaries exploiting its natural resources. How Black Adam becomes the hero he never wanted to be, how the Justice Society calls for a stop for his merciless and extrajudicial killings, tying into an ultimate face-off with an antagonist wanting absolute power forms the basic premise of Black Adam. My biggest gripe, and I think one of the main reasons why Black Adam did not soar to become a memorable DC Universe outing, was because of how risk-averse they were with Black Adam's character. If you have read the origin stories and comics of the character, you know that he is an absolute wild card. Being merciless not only against bad people but dependent on his mood would straight up start showcasing signs of a bloody antagonist. The movie makers, probably due to The Rock being cast as a leading man, is showcased as an anti-hero who fights and kills people on the wrong side. This makes him an anti-hero with his moral compass set right, making Black Adam, who has so much meat to be explored as a character, become really bland. His unpredictability, presence and individualistic outlook for most things is watered down in this film. This also is owed to the changes made in his origin story, which I think could have been explored as a chapter of his life rather than described as cliff notes with a monotonous voiceover. The emotional impact that should exist with Black Adam's origin story falls flat due to the chapter-like treatment that just needs to be skipped over. What stuck with me the most is that in a Black Adam movie, the most compelling character was Dr. Fate, played by Pierce Brosnan, a character that many people already started clowning on, comparing it to Doctor Strange, not realizing that the origins of this character go way back than the one that has been made famous by Benedict Cumberbatch. What really, however, is the highlight of this film are the action set pieces that showcase the strength and ability of not only Black Adam but the Justice Society as well. The introductory action set piece as Black Adam is surrounded by helicopters that transitions to a slow motion sequence of annihilating each element of international mercenaries around him. There is another moment where there is a Clint Eastwood Western standoff and how he tackles the mostly Australian sounding individuals that account for a really good tinge of humor integrated into the screenplay. Other than the compelling action set pieces and the case of Dr. Fate beautifully lending to not only having the ability to tell the future, but multiplying and changing his locations where his mind and body can be in two separate places, accounts for me being actually interested in his character being explored, because that would be fascinating. The film doesn't soar due to several reasons, whether it be the lack of impact with supporting characters like Atom Smasher and Cyclone, the case of superhero movies again having weak antagonists and CGI-packed concluding action set pieces which makes you feel nothing, because there isn't impactful writing in expanding the characters, its only purpose being the ultimate battle, and finally the case of Black Adam just being reduced to an anti-hero with morals. Did I have fun? Yes. Is it superior to underwhelming projects like Thor Love and Thunder? 100% yes. Am I stoked for how this develops? Even more so, because of the mid-credit scene that just sets up the possibilities beautifully. Despite its issues of simplistic writing, Black Adam accounts for a fun movie experience at the theaters and especially has me excited on how it develops the next installments. Moving on, I really was wondering, looking at the look of Prithvi Raj in Salaar, whether this sets up the perfect ingredients for Prabhas and his comeback. One of the things that we have often discussed on this channel is the constant need for Prabhas to deliver as a pan-Indian star, probably the pressure that he never envisioned and wanted, but I really have a gut feeling regarding the project with Prashant Neel that it really accounts for the mass commercial action canvas that probably will benefit Prabhas the most. While Radhe Shyam and Saho were a case of inexperience kicking in for the directors and Adi Purush probably only showcasing a sense of overconfidence that the audience will lap up anything, Prashant Neel is steadily building his dark universe with a capable actor like Prithvi Raj battling it out with Prabhas, and I know that many people are not fans of his style of filmmaking, but I definitely think that this will mark the return of Prabhas to the big leagues. This question just popped in my head as I kept on looking at the vibe and look of Prabhas in the film, that backed by Prithviraj looking as intense as ever. This for me might be the game changer for the man under constant pressure. And I was curious about your perspective as well. Finally, in this episode of a weekly roundup of things that I have seen, I wanted to recommend a movie to you that is probably one of the most disturbing films I've seen this year. I wanted to give you a trigger warning already, especially women who have undergone any form of physical and emotional abuse in their life, because this is a tough film to sit through. Yet one of the most important movies to see as well. Based on the Jessica Knoll book of the same title, Luckiest Girl Alive on Netflix focuses on Ani, played by Mila Kunis, who is a New York magazine editor about to get married to a cookie cutter rich and respectful man. As she is hounded by a documentary filmmaker for an interview, she is compelled to revisit the traumatic past she experienced while she was in school. The movie highlights the several trials and tribulations victims of abuse face while trying to come to terms with their own truth. This ranges from ridicule, self-doubt, gaslighting, ignorance, and most importantly, a lack of empathy. Something that every day eats up the morsel of self-esteem left within the individual. The film presents a screenplay masterclass, always making you believe one thing but steering you in another direction immediately, making your jaw drop of what transpired in Tiffany's life and why she has shaped up as the person she is today. How abuse manifests in several different ways, the film captures not only the solo struggle but the apathy and microaggressions one has to deal with while being the only one having experienced it, knowing the sheer trauma that one has to get over. Mila Kunis and especially Chiara Aurelia are exceptional in this film, putting forth performances that will deeply impact you. Again, I want to give you a trigger warning. This one is really tough to go through, but definitely one of the strongest recommendations I can give for how accurately it captures what one may undergo when faced with such hardships. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Black Adam, the Salaar looks, and Luckiest Girl Alive. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.